welcome to the Best Gay Sex Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Trevor Hoppy. Today's episode, we're talking about Tantra. Now, you may have heard of Tantra as this sort of mystical, ethereal practice that people talk about, but often we don't really know what the nuts and bolts of that look like. And today we're going to take a deep dive by talking to my friend, Matthew Shur, who is an intimacy coordinator for the porn studio Himeros TV. Now, you may initially think, okay, Tantra is over here and porn is over here, and they are really different because you're right. Porn often doesn't really look that connected. It can look a little artificial, a little transactional. Sometimes the actors can look a little bored. Tantra has brought to porn, through his intimacy coordinator work, it's made the scenes steamier. It's made them more realistic. It's made them more connected. And the way that Matthew achieves this is by leading the actors through these workshops, sometimes on these retreats that he's going to talk about today. And, it just sounds so counterintuitive to how we think about porn. Porn involving real, connected sex by people who are turned on, engaging in things like Tantra. It just seems kind of not intuitive. But Matthew is here to set the record straight and to show that porn can really feature a more diverse set of actors, which Davey Wavy, if you don't know Himeros, Davey Wavy started Himeros to be a sort of a different kind of studio that looked more authentically real, that looked more like the way our sex lives actually looked like. It also, of course, is fantasy, right? It's porn. It's not documentary, but it's really hot. And it's hot because of the work that people like Matthew have done to inject reality, hot reality, maybe you could think of it, into porn. And Matthew has used Tantra to achieve this. This is what I really find fascinating. As an intimacy coordinator, he leads his actors, as you're going to hear about in the interview, through these workshops where they learn to breathe and to connect in ways that you would never expect on a porn studio. And so I just find this really fabulous, and we can learn from what he has to say, not just because we're not porn stars, right? You and me, most of us are not, right? But we can learn from what he's done to transform those scenes and to bring life and inject erotic energy into those scenes with Tantra. We can do that in our own lives. And he's going to tell us how today in this fabulous interview. So let's listen in. Matthew Shur, welcome to the Best Gay Sex Podcast.
Oh, hey there. Hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that you're here.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy you're here. Thank you for welcoming me into your home here. You are an intimacy coordinator, is that right?
You can call it that. Sex and intimacy coach, intimacy coordinator. The shoe fits either way.
Yeah, and tell people, what does that mean?
Okay, well, nowadays, the term intimacy coordinator, it's a thing in the film industry. And there are protections, there's the union behind it all. It's a whole thing. I'm not exactly in that category. I do similar adjacent work. So it's kind of a create your own existence thing. I have been working predominantly with adult film performers.
I love that.
Yeah, it's been incredible work. Very rewarding.
With Himeros mostly, is that right?
Himeros, yes.
So tell us, people may be familiar with Davey Wavy, but maybe not be. So tell us a little bit about Himeros and their mission.
Himeros TV is pornography. I like to call it the new paradigm of pornography.
What was the old paradigm?
It's just go on Pornhub and you'll find something. Yeah.
Just sort of a lottery.
Yeah, just any typical porn. Not to dog it, because there's a place and a reason for it, but maybe more mindful pornography, porn with some kind of intention to dive a little deeper or even approach any kind of theme. But yeah, Himeros is, say, gay focused, but bi, queer, exploratory too.
Yeah. So it's by queer men for queer men.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Other people want to watch too. You go right ahead.
Yeah, I always wonder that because there are a lot of lesbians and straight people generally who love queer porn.
Yeah.
Which I find fascinating. So how did you get connected with Himeros?
Oh, that's a whole story.
Yeah.
Wow. It goes back to before pandemic,
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
I was 29 at the time. Whoa. It feels so far away, but also just yesterday. But I was working in a restaurant after college, felt like there was more to discover then, like I wasn't living up to my true fullest self.
Yeah.
I was in a relationship that was just kind of, I mean, it wasn't the deepest. I felt like there was more to feel and experience.
Yeah, I hear that. There's got to be more to life song, happening in the
I
background.
was just thinking of that today. Is it Stacy or Rico?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't believe you just mentioned that. Oh, yeah.
So you were going along, you're like, what the like I could do more with my life. And then
Yeah, and then I randomly just Googled gay Tantra.
what? Really?
Yes, I didn't know what Tantra was. I thought it was Kama Sutra, which
Uh-huh.
isn't, yeah, not quite.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But one of the first results that came up on the page was a gay Tantra coach and teacher,
Oh.
Brad Amberhart.
Oh, hi, Brad.
Yeah, I went on his website. It was new for me. Yeah, the tone was very open, and I had been out for some time as a gay man. So
Yeah.
I'm open to it. I signed up for the newsletter because I figured, what the hell? Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
And then maybe some weeks later, I received the first newsletter, and it was chock full of information, events, writing. And at the bottom of it was a call for submissions for ordinary men from North America to partake in a Tantra retreat
Wow.
that would also be filmed for Himeros. So I thought, oh, wow, this sounds like quite a stretch for me. I don't, no pun intended.
That's what
Seriously. I'm like, what do I have to lose in applying for this? This just feels right now. At the time, I thought maybe I wanted to be an educator, and this would be like a nope, not happening if I were to do this.
Yeah.
But I applied, and it was 3 pages of open-ended, like short essay answers.
Wow.
I'm like, wow, they're taking this serious.
This is like the SAT. Okay.
It's like, wow, final exam.
Uh-huh.
So I did it, submitted, and I just had a feeling I would hear back, and I did. I had a phone interview with David Wavy,
Yeah.
and I received the invitation to participate, to be one of 8 men from around North America. And I had reflected a bit, but I knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
And fast forward, it was a life-changing
It
experience.
sounds like it.
Yeah, it was incredible.
What was the structure of the weekend like?
So Brad Amberhart, the person who had the newsletter, was the coach for about a week long. And let's say 5 days or so. There were workshops throughout, but we'd start each day with a workshop just for us without any cameras. And it was very intentional, very heartfelt, very mindful. There were workshops throughout the day that would be filmed, and we were invited to apply, to experiment with, explore, play with what we were learning in ways that fit for us with one another. And as a gay man who had been out since high school, this was really the first time I felt like community with other gay men in this kind of a way. And
Really? First time?
really like tapped into the erotic too.
Uh-huh.
And it felt really fresh,
Yeah.
like doors opening, and yeah, it's really affirming and empowering.
It's funny because all of our spaces are often labeled like very sexy spaces, like gay male spaces, but that sexuality can be quite competitive and guarded and not like honest is one word to put it. It's not, people are not forthcoming. They can hold their cards, but it sounds like maybe this was a kind of different experience of sexuality that was more open. Is that fair?
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes you just need the space and the time.
Yeah.
I say just, but that can be quite a challenge.
Yes.
To create that. And this was the invitation to partake in that. It was like a slowing down of time. And yeah, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
This is actually, oh, psh.
And tell me about the push thing, because I think like people who do Tantra talk about the push thing. What is that? Like, tell us a little bit, like, what is the point of Tantra? Where are we getting to? Or where do we try to get to?
Yeah, well, it can be super simple. It can be all complex. It's make of it what you like, which is what I really value about it. Kind of create your own existence thing, and it can take from a whole bunch of different disciplines. So it's not straight up dogmatic, following a certain doctrine or anything.
Yeah.
It's really all about slowing down, observation, awareness. I say those words like, okay, sure, Jan. But like how to get there, like what kind of tools can we use to get there in our sex lives? That's more like neo-tantra. but also in our everyday life. And some ways we can, just in short, are using our body, breath, sound, movement, and intentions.
Can you, so help me, because like everyday person, it's like those are a lot of words, but can you give me an example, like concrete, how you've seen that transform someone's life, either your own or someone? Like, what did they bring from their sex life to their outside to their everyday life?
Yeah, well, breath is an amazing tool that one can harness, whether you're delving into the erotic, maybe getting with someone, slowing down and just breathing,
Yeah.
of connecting, intentional breaths. And it doesn't have to be super meditative woo-woo, if you will. It can be, and nothing wrong with it. Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, just taking time to breathe. And in doing so, you can actually circulate some of that, sexual energy, if you're in that context, through your body. And it was all very new, experimenting with that at the time.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little out there,
Yeah.
but I could feel it. Yeah.
What does it feel like?
Wow, there's a whole realm of different possibilities. Just letting yourself go there, letting the bullshit just kind of fall away. And in some respects, having someone else there to kind of help hold the space with you is super helpful. Or having a partner who is leaving their judgment at the door and just being able to accept you too, actually leaving their judgment, their self-judgment at the door too.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down
That's
to.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, for
We
sure.
bring that all around with us.
Absolutely. Baggage, baby.
Baggage.
So it sounds almost like it can be meditative. Did I mispronounce that word? I feel like I.
Oh, that's all right.
Because I feel that I can understand that relationship between sex and meditation, ironically, because there's so much happening physically during sex. But actually, I think for many people, you can transcend, as you say, the everyday noise. I guess sex is one way to get there. Are there other ways that are like, you say breathing, movement? I mean, what does a tantric workshop look like for an average person who knows nothing about this?
That can vary greatly. I've participated in different Tantra workshops or retreats with different instructors, but it all boils down to the invitation. When I lead workshops, and I've done it mostly for porn stars, for adult film performers, it's not 100% like Tantra focused, though it's at the root of what I offer. And another sense I bring is touch, slowing down with touch. I'll maybe coordinate some self-touch exercises, maybe even just like fingers on the palm to wake up the hands, because our hands sometimes need waking up to feel those sensations. And whatever we feel at a given time is all good. Just taking a moment to pause and like explore and wake up the senses a bit. Perhaps, like, I question, can that lead to something a bit more, shivers up and down? Yeah, what can that do for us?
So you're at this tantric workshop, with Himeros and Davey Wavy. How does that then lead to you becoming, this becoming your job from there?
Yeah. Well, when I left that Tantra retreat, I was feeling super empowered, really embodied in my sexuality. I was meeting new mans and feeling myself. Right afterwards, I went to, Austin, and then Colorado, and I was exploring the world. This retreat took place in Easton Mountain, which is in upstate.
Beautiful. Yeah. I lived in Albany for a couple years. Just down the road. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I did not get to go to one of those retreats, but I was on the newsletter. I read newsletters, and I would always get them. I'd be so jealous. They sounded amazing.
Yeah, it's a really special place. And after that, shortly thereafter, the pandemic hit. Like, I'm like feeling really embodied. There was a lot to take away from this retreat, like a lot. And actually for years afterwards, I was saying, this is still opening doors for me. I'm still being transformed by it.
Wow.
I signed up for some Tantra, gay Tantra, other newsletters. We wanted to be in it and see what was going on. And I was trying to stay connected in some ways with the people I had met. When the pandemic hit, I'm like, okay, how can we pivot? How can I adapt? And there was a really beautiful resource, Tantra for Gay Men, which is led by Jason Tantra. Hi, Jason. And Ingo. And they're based in the UK, but they started an app that brought men together from around the world. And there was free programming for a lot of the pandemic. And I was able to participate and then lead workshops, play shops, etc. It was really, I mean, I met my husband on the day I'm at.
What, really?
Yeah.
Stop.
I know.
How did that happen?
He shared a poem that he wrote on the feed, and I commented, and then we were messaging each other at the same time and kind of went from there.
Oh my God, that is so sweet.
So fast forward, I started leading some workshops, and that was a lot of fun. It was gratifying when everyone had that invitation or had to slow down a bit in their home. And Jason contacted me. He had been collaborating with Himeros, so he knew Davy Wavy, and he invited me to be a facilitator at an upcoming retreat, the Himeros experience, which was open to men from all around, not just performers.
Yeah.
And that was also at Easton Mountain.
Wow.
And that's how I started facilitating in person. And I knew that David would be there. And I thought to myself, well, what if I just propose a little something? Maybe I'll write one scene or something. Ooh.
Yeah.
So I worked up, a little something rehearsed. And talking to David is just, super down to earth. You just feel at home. I do. And I got the invitation to collaborate and write a series of films. That's how
Oh my gosh, wow.
his coaches and writers do it. So like 12 short films under a particular theme, writing that in collaboration with production, and then going on site and on set to be there.
Okay, this is everyone's dream job, obviously. Where do they apply? No, but tell us a little bit, because Himeros is a little different than your average porn company. We talked about that a little bit earlier, but talk us a little bit through more when, like, I was listening to you talk about Little Red Riding Hood, their fairy tales. What is the project about, like, other than obviously getting people off? There's something else going on.
Yeah. And over the years, it's been like 4 years now or something, I've written on or offered a bunch of different kinds of themes. Little Red Riding Hood was for queerly ever after, of re-envisioning fairy tales through a queer lens. So real elements of play and discovery. I actually did a lot of research for that particular too. Yeah, I spoke with a leading professor in classical French.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, it was so cool.
That's awesome.
Just offering something a little different.
Yeah.
I've done some heady themes like performance versus embodying authentic pleasure. That one was called All the World's a Stage, or Shakespeare. Kind of playing with the dynamics of knowingly performing for an audience and then embodying one's authentic pleasure. Another one was the erotic playground. So like inner child, I didn't want to call it that because
Sure.
I want to make it canceled. Yeah, but just elements of play and discovery. And I approach them, writing them, conceiving them as, okay, a future audience, prospective audience, what might they be able to gain? What else can we offer here? Just as an offering, an invitation to delve a little deeper or to approach some kind of theme, something that might be relevant, that might stick literally.
Because, yeah, I mean, it's a genre, so you're working within a genre and you're constrained by that, obviously trying to push. I remember I heard David talk about people say that they want more diversity in their porn, and then when you produce that porn, it doesn't often sell as well as the sort of mainstream stuff. So he's like, well, we have to do some of the more mainstream stuff to kind of finance the more diverse bodies and perspectives kind of stuff. So I don't know, is it a social justice movement? Like, there's something going on there that I find fascinating that's beyond business for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how that plays out too. Now, I've been a part of some shoots where I've been there, been on site, I've written the scenes, and then when I go on site, I offer them to the performers to create and make their own.
Yeah.
And that feels good to kind of give it up to them so they can, embody it how they feel comfortable. But there have been some times afterwards where I might read a comment when it's released, like it looks totally fake or just little critiques. I'm like, actually, sometimes I have to bite my tongue. At times I might, actually, it played out a little differently. And actually, this person maybe was a little nervous beforehand or had some life going on, had some real life events because they're...
Well, the whole tea, right? For all these people, the things that they're going through in the background. Like, what is your relationship like with the performers on set?
It's wonderful. Yeah. Working with performers, the first time I did it, I was like, oh my God, inner critic, what is going on? I had been in front of the camera for kind of a one-time thing.
Right.
And
The Tantra thing.
yeah, I found it incredibly liberating. As soon as the camera went on, I just felt like all excited. I
Really?
had no idea I'd feel that way.
Fascinating, because most of us would think, oh my God, if a camera turns on, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I've only done like one other thing afterwards, like a collaboration with someone. I thought, could I do like an OnlyFans for myself? And it just never really clicked so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I found it exhilarating.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. But working with performers, the first time I was like, oh my God, what's going on? But I gained trust with people, and I worked with someone I was actually collaborating with in front of the camera too, which was kind of cool. But afterwards, as I started to go on another collaborate with more shoots, that inner critic started to kind of fizzle down a bit. I'm like, I had to tell myself, okay, bitch, affectionately, you're doing this and you're being called back, and you're connecting with these performers, and you're seeing and hearing from them how this might be helping them.
Amen.
And I love approaching it, going on site as being there for the performers, like a retreat for them.
Yeah.
Even though we're filming porn for an audience and it's going to be sold, I approach it as this is for them too.
Yeah.
And I love doing that.
What's an experience that you can think of where you had a powerful kind of interaction with the performer that you felt like, oh, this is why I do this work?
Oh, wow, there's so many. There was one, just thinking the last shoot I was on was in January this year in a chateau in France.
Oh.
Just a chateau. And I was working with people I had collaborated with before. I had written scenes for them, coached with them on other shoots. And there were also some new folks I was meeting. The space just felt really, really heartfelt, really, really grounded, and really easy to connect with everyone. I just go in with it like, we'll do the best we can. I want to bring my authentic self and see what that can help and invite from others. But wow, I'm awestruck at how beautiful each person was. And there was one moment, I think it was our final workshop in the mornings. And I usually like to offer kind of experiential exercises for them. Clothes on. It's in the morning. They're filming scenes later in the day. They're going to take their clothes off and have sex.
Sure.
So let's do something gentle. Let's read the room. Maybe some kind of like connection exercises. I kind of like to delve into like consent, trauma informed, and to just connect with their scene partners for the day, connect with themselves. That last workshop, though, it was all discussion based. People really wanted to have a discussion about, well, there were elements of social justice, about identity, about race, sexuality, ethnicity. And when I started hearing that coming out, I wanted to hold the space for people to share that. And it ended up being a really, really enriching conversation. People were really feeling, kind of electric afterwards that we had talked about this on a gay porn set. It was really neat to hear that. And that was like, okay, I'm coming back home here as someone with like social justice activist roots, hearing this, helping facilitate this, taking a back seat, leading it subtly. Not having to speak as much, inviting others to share their own experiences. I was like, this is it for me.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I just can't imagine. It's just very far from people's idea of what a porn set looks like, right?
Totally.
What do you think that does for the finished product?
Well, it invites people in to themselves, to be themselves, the performers. Yeah, that perhaps they can feel like they can just be their authentic selves a little more. There will still always be an element of performing for a camera, and that's totally okay too. But these are people too. And Himeros uses some high quality cameras. If I recall correctly, like we've used like Game of Thrones style cameras. It picks up things.
I did see there was like a White Lotus like rip-off, spin-off thing that was so cute. Like, oh my God, yeah, the drama.
Oh, the drama. You can really pick up with these cameras. It shows the body language cues, how they're connecting with their partners.
Interesting. So it's the quality of the equipment also matters in terms of being able to just register things you might not have otherwise?
Yeah, say if someone is not, if say scene partners were together and if they weren't really feeling the scene, weren't really feeling one another, or had some reservations, it could easily be picked up on camera.
Yeah.
So part of my role is to, okay, how can I invite performers to feel more comfortable, feel empowered, feel like they have ownership of their own agency,
Yeah.
which is really also encouraged by the director and the producer I've been working with. They're amazing. And so there's this atmosphere of, hey, we want to help you feel empowered and like you are in yourself. And if something isn't working so well for you, feel free to speak up. If you'd like to switch something, maybe a scene partner or something comes up, you can approach us, any one of us behind the scenes. And we do little questionnaires beforehand, but things change in person too.
Yeah.
So they're offered tools.
And have there been moments like that where you like had to go intervene in the middle of a scene to like help someone get out of a headspace or, I don't know, change something about the scene?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes when I'm on set, and it's all like reading the room and reading the person, sometimes I take a step back. Okay, is this person, like, if they may feel they need to watch porn while they're filming porn, which is a thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was new for me when on my first shoot, I'm like, oh my God, this is like meta. I learned, okay, like, first of all, no judgment. Let it be. If I can help in some ways, I'd love to. And I have before someone who was feeling jitters or feeling like inadequate at the time. I did something experimental and took their hands, had them kind of channel it through me because they were kind of open to that. And I saw a transformation there, which was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there have been, I'd say, very few experiences I've had personally on set with performers maybe not wanting to film with someone else. But if they feel that, there's been felt able to express it as far as I'm aware of.
Yeah.
There's one instance that really I still think about.
Yeah.
This performer I was working with who is he's got a lot of work and he's got a lot of penis too. Incredibly smart too. Wow. I was just couldn't believe it. And his age, at his age too. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And he just had a lot of energy. On the final day, his final scene, he pulled us aside, both coaches, and had tears in his eyes, saying that he didn't feel comfortable filming with his scene partner because that other performer hadn't been attending these workshops.
Oh, wow.
Thinking like, okay, because we've helped create this space, like intentional space for performers where they're invited to sink into and have just be on a different wavelength with one another and with themselves. He didn't feel comfortable.
Wow.
Well, maybe in a different context, that wouldn't have come up at all. That was really like, wow, kind of humbling and striking to me. And it's something I really have tucked away in my mind. Wow. And I'm really glad that he felt able to express that.
Yeah, for real. So I assume things were reordered around.
1, 2, 3. Yes. Yes.
It really can create an air in the room, I'm sure, a spirit of an invitation, as you say. I think that those retreats, I'm very like right-brained and like, oh, so new agey, but it is true. They really can like change your mindset. So I can imagine if you're feeling like your mindset was changed, then maybe you want someone who's along with for that journey, maybe with you. I don't know. That's fascinating.
Yeah. I love curveballs that come up on set too. Have something happens if we, behind the scenes need to adapt. Totally ready for that.
So what kind of curveballs come up?
Oh, changing an entire scene that I wrote.
You're like, no, this is not how this was written.
That has happened before. And it's really telling for me that I don't take it personally and I'm actually eager to embrace it.
Yeah, you have to be. Yeah.
And it actually excites me too. Maybe it's my like ADHD brain. I'm like, oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
But it's also a signal to me that I'm in the right place and context and working with the right people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the improv thing. It's like, yes, and you just have to roll with it because if you try to fight it, then it's not going to create a good outcome,
Maybe I've created something a little too in-depth or heady, or it's just not working for someone. And okay, how can we adapt this?
Yeah, how do you manage that? Because it's so funny to think about. I mean, when people talk about writing porn, they probably think of that woman saying, "And right in front of my salad," like there's kind of classic, silly, campy moments. And then, of course, the really bad kind of lines that can come from bait bus or other kinds of things. But like, how do you balance the headiness with the like the genre of porn.
Yeah, that's something I've really enjoyed doing. So for a bunch of these projects, I've done a fair amount of research behind the scenes, like consulting academia.
Yeah.
Which I didn't see coming, but it was almost like an invitation for me to get back into that for myself. And when I come on set, I have that in my mind. I know the deeper context, but it's important to read the room again. I'm not necessarily offering that to everyone. If they're interested, hey, we can discuss it more. We can play around with it more. But in some ways, it helps color the experience for me to help hold space for others. I also find it very easy to encourage play. Yeah, and comfort, just in presence. Yeah, just in being. How one can start the day and hold space with the other performers. It can really set the tone for the day. I've noticed that. Something I've learned to value in myself, even if I feel super awkward at times. It's realness, and it can help invite other people to be their own selves.
Right.
And then I also just encourage or invite others to be themselves. And they've been doing this. They can play around. Perhaps they enjoy having sex too. So inviting them to step into that too. And yeah, that works out.
What does play look like on a porn set?
Oh, play. I like to start the day in the workshops playing around in some ways. Yeah.
Like horsing around, or what are we?
There can be some elements of horsing around, but maybe some like role play, like exercises where you might not be like at first deduce that that's playing around or like exploring consent or like asking for what you want to give or receive, but it's embedded in those exercises. And at first it might be a little awkward, especially some of the role play exercises I might do, and they're offering. There's a fair amount of workshopping from time to time, but it's all about meaning into it and just, and then when the giggles start turning into laughs and really noticing like affectionate touching and kind of dropping of the guard, and I'm like, okay, this is working in some ways. And, we could circle back and talk about, how this is about giving, receiving, etc., like the wheel of consent. But sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes it's more about just feeling how it operates in the body.
Right.
Once the first laughs come out, then it starts spreading.
That's fascinating. Laughter as a gateway.
Oh yeah, just all it takes is one person.
Yeah. No, have fun. I agree with that. I mean, sometimes you burst out laughing in sex and you think it feels inappropriate at first, but it really can break the facade.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
Yes, I like to encourage play, laughter, bring intimacy. Yeah.
I think a lot of time guys have a hard time with that because everyone takes sex so seriously sometimes. You put these real serious scripts in place, this dom, sub, macho, whatever that goes into it. I think some guys feel shackled by those scripts, but it's kind of when you break free from that, sometimes the most joy and pleasure can.
Yeah. And I felt like a weirdo, a little kooky, a little eccentric, whatever you want to use. I'm myself. I have been asked to leave people's homes before.
Yeah.
And hooking up because like, whoa, you're a little out there. And it's like, okay, try not to take it personally. At the same time, it's like, shit.
Yeah.
My drag. Like, what the hell? At the same time, I've also experienced like kink-centric or like dom sub stuff, which is often associated with being super serious.
Yeah.
With play and laughter and like discovering that that's possible is like, wow, there are different ways to do this. We could take a little sigh of breath and enjoy ourselves in different ways. Sure, there's space for in the seriousness, and that can be a turn on for people too.
Yeah.
But we can also encourage some laughter and play and just not take it as seriously.
Yeah. And sometimes when you're working with a script, I mean, a script the first time is energizing. A script the second time is still kind of fun. But the third time, you're kind of like, okay, I've kind of done this already. Like you got to kind of keep life interesting and mix it up. So I've heard you talk about that before. So I definitely wanted to make space for play because I think that's a big part of what you're. Sounds like that's a big part of your like mission in life.
Yeah. Play. And what can that look like for people? Been fortunate to have some experiences working with non-performers of workshops and of different ages, different backgrounds. And it's all like exploring, okay, how can play look like for people here? And people are coming in with their own backgrounds, histories, life. I mean, we're all living through some crazy ass times right now. So just having some compassion for oneself
Yeah.
and for others is like a whole feat in itself.
Yeah.
And so like dropping the judgment, especially of oneself at first, and just being able to connect with oneself. Gosh, it's like coming back to the basics because there's a real necessity for it and just like self-compassion.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people struggle with that at home. What would be some tips you would give for people to drop that, to like move beyond it?
My goodness. Oh, wow. You know, that could be challenging for me too these days. Just taking a little pause to connect with yourself. I love to come back to breathing. While it can be a form of meditation, meditation doesn't have to look like quiet, just sitting in a corner. Yeah. Meditation can also be active. It can be exercise if that's your thing.
Right.
It could be moving around in some ways, but just letting yourself kind of sink into your body, letting yourself kind of feel into your own body. Using breath and touch, I like to just exploring your own touch, your own breath. You could also play around with sounds. You don't want to add it all in. It might be overwhelming. Like personally, I don't usually, if left by default, I tend not to make a lot of sound during sex.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But I also encourage others to play around with it. And in doing so, I'm encouraged myself. So I've explored that myself. That's a journey.
Yeah.
Explore how can I actually use my sound? I found some ways that feel totally unconventional.
It's funny how cultural that is, because I feel like here in the United States, people tend to be loud in bed, and then you go like European countries, like I remember France in particular, my French friends would be like, oh my God, you Americans will not shut the up in bed. You're so loud. So when you say sounds, that's not words, that's something else. So what do you mean by sounds that's beyond like the words coming out of my mouth?
Hey, it could be words too. Sound, it could be like attached to your breath, like a humming of sorts. And if it feels weird, maybe you're doing it right. Just playing around. Maybe you're by yourself, maybe you got a partner there, whatever. Just allowing yourself to explore sounds. If something feels pleasurable, if it feels by default, I was, the way I was raised, not to make a lot of sound. Had my door closed when I was younger. So like finding how can I make sounds that feel good when I'm experiencing like orgasmic or ecstatic sensations in my body. And it doesn't have to be like shake the walls, shake the roof, down boots. But it could be a little something. And just so I could hear myself, and so my partner can hear it if it's with someone else. Yeah, just exploring, and then also feeling the vibration of your sound in your body.
Yes.
How can you make it like a wheel, or something cyclical? Kind of get into something that's kind of feels like self-sustaining or exploratory.
Trance.
Hey, I like that word. Yeah, I like that.
Those moments can be fleeting, I guess, in sex. Like, I don't know, do you think that, I'm just thinking of literally the word trance, like you encourage people, it sounds like, to get into those states. Is that?
When working with performers, I'm not like, oh, this is like the state that, this is ideal place. Because it's all good. And really it is all good. As long as it feels good and it's consensual, hey, it's good. But there are also other states. It's a whole continuum, if you will, spectrum of different feelings, of energy, of orgasmic sensations that we can feel in our bodies that can be available to us and that we can use not just in our sex, but in the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And that's something that I really felt especially pronounced when I had that first Tantra retreat. Like I had the tools there and, as with male parts, so we have the PC muscle that we can use to kind of like contract and, strengthen it up. We can have multiple orgasms.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that look like?
It's basically flexing a muscle.
Really?
Learning how to use that muscle during sex, during orgasms, when you feel like you're about to ejaculate, kind of squeezing the PC muscle. And it might not happen at first, but if you're able to, you can like prevent ejaculation, but still orgasm or in some kind of medium. You might have a refractory period afterwards. You might not, but it feels, when you experience that, the energy like through your body is wild. Personally, I like to ejaculate.
Yeah. Some tantric people they specifically don't, right?
That's the thing. It can also be like a stereotype too, but Yeah, it's an offering. If it's something you want to play around with, it's there. It's the muscle you use when you start and stop the flow of pee.
An instructor once grabbed my friend's like balls and be like, keep your sexual energy in here. You know, he was like, don't come. Basically, that's the only exposure to Tantra, like an instruction I ever had.
I've had something like that too. Personally, I like to break the rules.
Yeah.
I like to be a little renegade, and I'll even mention that when I'm working with people. It's all good. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. The pleasure thing is key. Like, what brings you pleasure? Zero in on that. The other stuff filter out. And if people have a hard time with that, then they're not your people. They're, like find your people, who support those choices.
And I find that like playing around with like, okay, different tools that we all already have to play around with, like ecstatic, these orgasmic sensations in our bodies.
Yeah.
In offering some of these exercises or practices while also maybe not taking it so seriously, perhaps that can help invite people to explore a bit more.
Yeah.
Or feel a little less judged or a little less weird or outsider-y doing it.
I guess I'm just thinking about porn performers again and all the things that people want to know about them, because I think they're just these mysterious group of people, and you have this insider info.
The tea.
What is one thing that would surprise people?
There's a lot coming to mind. Super wonderful people. Some might not be hypersexualized like you might think, might be like an outward facing public persona.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot more to people than just their sex lives.
And their work.
Yes. People might be drawn to this line of work for a whole variety of different reasons. Some people have backgrounds of trauma in certain ways. So maybe they've come into this work, at least in part, to reclaim their own sexual or erotic agency. Maybe they are just stepping back into confidence in certain ways. Maybe it's just fitting right now. So there's a whole variety of different reasons why people come into it. I just saw a comment on Davey Wade's page about like, so to be a performer, you have to, give yourself up, prostitute around, sleep, and sell your soul to the production.
Oh my God.
To the production company.
Drama.
I'm like, bitch. Took that personally, not for myself.
Right.
Because I've worked with David, executive producer, with usual director producers. I've worked with Ed and Sam, based in the UK, who have their own company, Alt Shift, and they are like, their whole work is rooted in honoring, respecting, encouraging agency for performers to step into themselves, to feel into themselves in ways that feel comfortable. And that leads to another thing. Behind the scenes, there's talk, there's negotiation. There's, planning how, at least for some, about how sex might look, how it might feel, what they might be into. Sometimes performers might be really all up for just going into it. Maybe that's exciting for them. And maybe they know they can stop the scene or halt at any point to switch things. Sometimes the dialogue, the talk about yeses and nos takes place on camera, like for the actual scene, if it's a part of the theme. But it's not just, going in and fucking in this context. In other porn contexts, like other studios, I've heard that they show up and they have their people, their scene partners, and then they like leave. Not for every context, but it's done quite differently for Himeros. So there's more, I don't want to say more heart, but kind of, there's, yeah.
Something. There's a different energy to it. You can tell in some mainstream porn that like it's disconnected. People are not necessarily that engaged or whatever. So hopefully in the finished product with Himeros, you get more of that kind of like carnal passion, desire, connection, energy.
And to what extent it might delve into a deeper theme, it's all good. Sometimes it might be really identifiable, like, oh wow, like in a fairy tale context, or when like inner child stuff. With bullying, we did some scenes on like bullying, sharing real lived experiences, which is like, whoa, kind of powerful. And then like transforming that in like role play and sex. That was really like humbling to witness.
Sure.
Set.
Is anything too far for porn?
Ooh, like different themes?
Yeah. I mean, eroticization of violence or different things that you're like, there's a line here we shouldn't cross.
Ooh, that's a really good question. And that's a great dialogue to have and keep having. Ooh, I don't think I've had violence. Like, yeah, I haven't in stuff that I've written, but there has been some.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there have been some taboo things. I've been a part of something, yeah, that kind of tested my own comfort zone, but got the okay from people. That's a constant dialogue to revisit, I think. Yeah, there's a fair amount of taboo. Yeah.
Well, there's this whole movement, as you know, to ban porn, to censor it, and I think it's gaining traction. So I guess what is the full-throated defense? Like, what do you think porn can do for people? Why is it necessary and important today?
Yeah, just take a look how people are behaving. Look at these in power right now, like in the US. They're repressed as
Yeah.
they are not in touch with themselves, their own bodies, their own authentic truths, unless their authentic truths are rotted from the inside. Seriously, there's a coming back to ourselves and having compassion for ourselves that is like in itself a little act of resistance. Maybe a really important one to come back to if that feels most accessible or something that we can explore with because we have ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, mm, so banning porn really, I mean, I've heard about porn addiction, about the dangers of porn. I've studied some of the feminism, some of the, it's a third wave feminist thought. Is it Andrea Dworkin?
Andrew Dworkin, Catherine McKinnon, yes, Only Words. And they are so smart and make some really insightful critiques that gave me pause and it made me think a lot about this stuff. But I think if you are pro porn, you should engage with that work because it really helps you think more carefully about what the dangers could be and what we can do maybe to mitigate some of those dangers.
I can understand in some ways where they're coming from, and perhaps in the specific kinds of porn that they're referencing or in mainstream porn, because behind the scenes in certain contexts, maybe it's not filmed in the most empowering or affirming ways. But having been an active participant behind the scenes in front of the camera myself, in a context where this pornography is more than just pornography. There's more to it, and we're inviting in, honoring agency, sexual agency, practicing consent, negotiating, talking about yeses and nos, exploring themes that might be a little taboo, that might be a source of repression for a lot of people, especially of different generations. There's a lot more than just sex to it. Sure, there's sex, there's orgasm, etc. But there's a lot that we can do in creating erotic content. There's a lot we can take away from that kind of content too, if we are watching it. So there are different themes there. And yeah, I feel like we can discover bits and pieces perhaps of ourselves or receive an invitation to explore that in certain ways. And maybe, sure, there's porn out there that, yeah, it's maybe surface level, and maybe that can be okay. Maybe then should be a reckoning, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing the work I've been doing.
Well, amen. And, I think it boils down to a lot of the concerns, not necessarily just talking about the feminist concerns, but generally a lot of critiques of porn are critiques around labor and workplace conditions. And I think if you take it away from sex and say, yes, let's also work for the women working in nail salons as well as the women working in porn, let's make sure everyone has a safe place to report to work, whatever that work is. And to me, I think sometimes it's like we just get so myopically focused on the sex when really it's not the sex that's doing the violence. It's something else that we're mad about.
That is a fascinating conversation to have. Yeah. Ooh. I read some articles from academics in the Porn Studies Journal.
Yeah, it's it absolutely does. It's a big deal too. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And their whole talks about labor and porn and creating porn and sex work. So there is a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
And I feel blessed in some ways to be working with Himeros, where we operate in a different way. And I have seen people just being honored and just feel comfortable, and their comfort level is respected. But I've had people who have done a lot of studio work who have shared experiences that sound, pardon my language, awful.
Yeah.
Really. I'm like, oh my God. But the pressure that can be there, and because some of these studios might have notoriety, I'm like, that.
Yeah.
And some, there might be a reckoning once again with that being able to feel comfortable coming public with that.
Right.
Also, things are changing a bit because there's OnlyFans. People are creating their own content.
Yeah.
So maybe there's their own responsibility, but also freedom to create in their own kind of labor conditions. But then how does that operate in conjunction with OnlyFans and the shares that they're taking from performers?
The conversation continues.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Fascinating.
Well, what do you think it has taught you, being the work that you do? What has taught you about your own sex life?
That's a great question I haven't really thought of, but just being able to feel comfortable being myself, actually confidence in myself again, renewing that, and just seeing the impact that we can all have on other people in kind of embodying ourselves and our own sexuality, our own, yeses and nos, being able to feel comfortable kind of embodying that can do wonders for, well, ourselves, but other people too. And just becoming more aligned with our own truths. And that can be a lifelong process. So that's been a reminder to myself to keep exploring, to keep playing around. I feel like there's a whole lot of discovery for myself. And I feel cool with that.
So what does like the best sex look like for you?
Oh, wow. My answer would be there's no straight up answer. Yeah. And I think trying to achieve that best sex ever, but maybe we have some sexual experiences that we might consider the best or be super memorable for us. And I think asking why.
Yeah.
Why or what made it so is a good question. Because I can think of something for myself. Okay. So it was kind of like a date at first, even though we were like framed within a hookup. There was a slowing down of sorts. It felt like time was stopping, and then slow touch and then kissing, some foreplay, like attraction, mutual attraction, and then going a little deeper. And also comfort level, just feeling comfortable with the other person.
Yeah.
In an experience I can think of, there was talk about, hey, we kind of need to stop now. I'm not feeling so great, but we can start again a little in terms of straight up like fucking anal sex.
Yeah.
But I found it actually really hot to be able to have that conversation and to respect the other person.
Yeah.
And in some ways it felt even more sexy, just open and real to be able to ride a wave of different orgasmic sensations, and it prolonged the sex too. So
That's
all right. So maybe no definitive answer, but how can we really feel more, access some really great feelings in our bodies, connect that with our minds in terms of sex? Yeah, all about experimenting, playing around with the tools we already have.
What tips would you give young people for finding and having that best guy? You've seen so much sex, right? On porn sets and in real life. Like what do you think the toolkit looks like?
Ooh, okay, yeah. Talking about sex can be, well, one, a turn on for some people. Two, discussing yeses and nos about boundaries can be empowering and affirming. So that option is great. And it doesn't have to be like, okay, we're structuring our sex like this and be super cut and dry and orderly. Same with like consent. I feel like some people have this like notion of talking about consent is going to kill the mood.
Right.
Yeah, actually there are some super fucking sexy ways. Well, I've seen people discuss their yeses and nos and have it actually build up the sex.
Have you seen it done? Like, what do you mean? Like, what's a way that it's been done sexy?
Gosh, I think my mind is going to one experience where there was like, a monster, like prosthetics used in sex. No, it's a little out there to have these big ass monster prosthetics.
Yeah.
But having people, the performers, talk about, ooh, actually, this might be nice. Or, you know what, maybe not doing this, maybe something else. Having them laugh about it. It shows on camera for one, but it also shows in your bodies and body language.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's a big one for consent that people don't talk about as much. The like unspoken. It's hard sometimes, especially when you're young and you don't really know because you don't have a lot of experience to like interpret what the way someone clams up or.
Oh, yeah. that.
Yeah.
I have my own experiences having my body language got respected.
Yeah.
And one of the many reasons I got into this work. But yeah, that's really good point to make. Just taking note of other people's bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, what they're feeling. Checking in with them is okay, cool, encouraged too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you doing? You okay? Things good? You like that boy? Which is kind of assertive and aggressive, but also is a check. It's like check it.
Just checking in.
Yeah. Totally. I feel that. Eyes, I feel like tell a lot as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Funny you mention that. In Tantra, eye gazing is a thing, just gazing into someone else's eyes. And that can be super vulnerable. Now, I like to break the rules sometimes and mention that. So the last retreat / shoot I was on, I decided to just kind of offer something in a workshop. Like, well, it was on the first day too. Eye gazing is a practice in Tantra, but what if that's like confronting for some people? What if they're like neurodivergent people? What if there are ways to like close your eyes or do something else, but still connect with the other person in a heartfelt way? I offer that. I'm like, what the did I just say? And then someone chimed in like, oh my God, I can't believe you just shared that. Like, I'm a regular performer, studio performer. And like, I find it really confronting at times, even though I love sex and love connecting with my partner.
Yeah.
Really got into this talk. And his scene was on the first day of shooting. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to get into our heads now. And he took that as an invitation, he and his partner. His partner actually blindfolded him in his scene, and it wasn't part of the scene. And like written into it, but it was an offering. And I was like in tears. I actually have a screenshot that David sent me, framed it, because I was like crying. I should have brought it over, but seeing like, oh wow, and their sexual experience, it was erotic, very erotic too. I mean, you could just feel it in the air. It was super connected.
Wow.
And like, yeah, wow. There was listening, interpreting body language. There were offerings. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. And what a nice note to kind of wrap things up on, and just beautiful experience, and speaks to the power of the work that you do. So thank you for that work.
Thank you. Got the shivers now.
All right. So I always like to end with my favorite segment, which is Sordid Lives or Untold Tales for short, or SLUT. What's the sluttiest things you ever did?
Sluttiest thing I've ever done. Oh my gosh. So it could be, wow. It's like, what is slut? What is inner slut? What is outer? Okay, multiple things come to mind. One is like being on camera. I think it was maybe the first day of shooting, and this was all new for me, Tantra. It was a wrestling context. I bought a
singlet.
I got a singlet for the occasion.
Oh.
I knew it was coming, and I was feeling a particular way, but I was also feeling butterflies. Yeah. But next thing I know, I'm eating ass. I'm getting my ass eaten. I'm getting my cock sucked. It's like, it was orgy. First time having like an intentional orgy, like wave, very wavy like that. I'm like, oh my. I don't know if that's slutty, but
I think that counts as slutty. Like, did you become aware of that during the experience? Did you look around and you were like, oh my God, this is the first time doing
Oh my God, what's going on here? What am I doing? I like it and it's fun. And ooh, I'd like to do that. And maybe I'm not feeling this so much. So maybe how can I use my body language? Because it's successful, right?
Piece out of this area, go over here.
He gets the point. So how can I come over here? Literally. Yeah.
Well, if people want to learn more about you and the work that you do, where can they find you?
You can find me right now on Instagram at Matthew Shur, 2 T's, Shur. Website forthcoming. I've been saying that for a while now.
Websites are overrated. Yeah, I mean, you really just need a landing page online, and it could be Instagram. It could be anyways.
Linktree, this, that.
Linktree, yes. So I have all these things, of course. But
I'm looking to expand what I've been doing too now. So
nice.
That's on my radar. So yeah, if you're curious, come reach out, send me a message.
Well, I really appreciate it, Matthew. Thank you so much for the time.
Trevor, so glad you came.
Yay, my pleasure.
That's our show for today. Thank you so much, as always, for listening. I'm truly grateful. And if you enjoyed the episode and the show, take a second to leave us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a little note. Say hi. I always am grateful for that level of feedback. And next episode, we're going to pick up on that mentorship series. Last episode, I interviewed my mentor, David Halperin. And next episode, we're going to have our first guest host of the season who's going to be interviewing their mentee. So I look forward to sharing more about that in a couple weeks with that next episode. Till then, see you next time.